How's it going, everybody? This is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another edition of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. Many of you listening to this podcast may have watched the three-part webinar series that Rajeev Sajja and I co-hosted together called AI-Powered Real Estate, Unleashing Practical Strategies for Your Growth. If you missed it, don't worry. We are going to do today kind of a podcast recast, part one of our webinar series to give you an introduction into the world of AI. And if you want to watch part two and part three, you can always go to foxroach.ai. Again, foxroach.ai. There you will find part two and part three of the webinar series, but you will also find what we call the playbook, which will be an ever-evolving guide to using AI. So let's get right into the recast and we'll pick it up on the other side. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. This is going to be the first in our three-part series called AI-Powered Real Estate, Unleashing Practical Strategies for Your Growth. And we're going to take a deep dive into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. If you don't know, I am Jason Ostrowski, your co-host for today's adventure, along with the man who needs no introduction, Rajeev Sajja, and we are thrilled to have all of you here. As you can see with the chat, we have hundreds of you here far and wide, and artificial intelligence, often abbreviated as AI, has become an integral part of our lives. From the devices that we use to the services that we rely on, today we're here to talk about a few basics to start. What is AI, why you should care about AI, and some practical strategies to apply today to your business. So make sure to hang on until the end of this webinar today to get the AI playbook that we've prepared for you. And over the span of these three webinars, we are going to do our best to demystify AI and provide you with the basics to kickstart your journey of learning about this transformative technology and how you can apply it to your business. So in the next hour, we're going to explore key topics related to artificial intelligence, including its real-world applications, its impact on our industry, and how it's shaping the future of real estate. So without further ado, let's embark on this AI journey together. But before I kick it over to my co-host, Rajeev, I wanted to start by telling all of you that the introduction I just made about our webinar today covering AI was partially written by, in fact, AI. So you can call me ChatGPT at this point. And I just threw Rajeev a total curveball. He had no idea that I was going to be doing that. Rajeev, I'm going to now hand you the reins and get us started.
Thank you, Jason. And first of all, I love that ChatGPT. I know we're going to talk about GPT today, but I appreciate the intro. So before we begin, I do want to take you back to Thanksgiving last year. I was meeting with a few friends. Paul Zubert, I think, is on the call. He emailed me something about ChatGPT. Rajeev, did you see this? So I embarked on that journey. So for my learnings has been since November to now. That's about 7, 8, 9 months. So nobody's an expert in AI. If somebody says they're an expert in AI, I would just call myself a power user. And I've used it enough, learned enough, and there are several people I have to thank for all the knowledge I've acquired over time. I'll call out two people, Jimmy Burgess at BHS Beach Properties. I keep up with all the things Jimmy does in AI. And I listen to Everyday AI, a podcast that has absolutely transformed how I've embraced AI. I've dedicated AI, time for AI. So all of this so that you don't have to do the same thing that we're doing with the amount of time investment to really give you practical strategies to apply today, but really give you a proper foundation. Because without a proper foundation, a lot of you would probably not embrace and get the value from AI. So as we begin, all right, so let's talk a little bit about what is AI and why we should really care, right? So if you all recall, and many of you are old enough to know when the internet was born, okay? And you know the journey. I remember having a modem that you had to, Jason, you're nodding your head. It probably was you probably remember it, but I had to turn on the modem. It made all these funky noises. I went, got a cup of coffee, came back, and I was on the internet. Okay. And look at where we are now. We're doing a Zoom call with high-speed internet, right? And it's just, we can't survive Okay. And then 2004, I got my first Apple phone, version 4, which only you can download apps. And look at where we are today with the Apple 15 that just released, right? Smartphones. And I made specifically the GPT, and I didn't, not necessarily ChatGPT, but GPT technology, AI, a bigger circle, because I believe from all the things I've done and learned over the last 8-9 months, it will be a bigger transformation in everything we do than the other two big things that we've sort of embraced over time. So it will change how you do pretty much everything. And we'll hopefully share that with you with some specific strategies. But the interesting part is AI is already working in our lives. It's like on autopilot. I woke up this morning, turned on my iPhone, Face ID, well, AI, okay? Google Maps is using AI all the time, right? How many of you actually, do you have Alexa, Jason, at home?
Yes, I do. And she plays too big of a role in our household already.
So that's using AI, right? Nest, smart, temperature stuff is using AI. So all of these. Now, I read an article recently, Jason, that Netflix clearly is also using AI. You know how many movies are watched based on Netflix recommendations? 80%. So they're also learning people's behaviors. It's all a different segment, but AI is already working in our lives. However, not until ChatGPT was released in November, Thanksgiving last year, that now you have the ability to build or use AI that's publicly available by putting the practices that we're going to share with you so you use it responsibly. Okay. And you're going to hear that word a little bit because it is important to share, and we'll give you some guidance. Okay. As soon as you see this, if you watch the Matrix movie, you know the reference, okay? Morpheus and Neo, for those of you that haven't watched the Matrix movie, it's a sci-fi movie that basically compares the actual world to the artificial world, right? So, and they're presented with two pills, okay? And the first one, if you take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up and believe whatever you want to believe, okay? However, if you take the red pill, we'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And that is really what AI is about. So if you think about another way to look at this, the red pill is AI and the blue pill is, I just want to ignore it for a while. I just don't want my world to change. But based on what we're going to present and how you can use this to improve your productivity in all areas of your business, we believe real estate agents using AI will gain a massive competitive advantage if done properly. And that's what we want to train you. Because once you have the right foundation, I think you'll use it properly, you'll use it effectively, and that's really what we want to share with you today. So, Jason, when you got your iPhone and you started to move through those versions of iPhone, remember somebody said there's an app for that. You heard that. Mm-hmm. Now there's an AI for that, okay? So anything you tell us, there's probably an AI that's being built or already out that you could do it. And as we go through the 3 webinar series, today's foundation with practical strategies. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about advanced strategies. And the third is about AIs not named ChatGPT you should know about. So all 3 are very different, really sending you down that educational journey of how to use AI. And just in March 2023, there was, in the US alone, look at how many startups are working on AI solutions. So this is changing faster than we can keep up, okay? And that's not necessarily a good thing. All right, so I want to have you first embrace an idea that AI and ChatGPT specifically, because that's going to be our focus. We're also going to do a demo today, by the way. We're going to go live, okay? It's not just about theory. This is about practice and showing you exactly how to use it properly. I want you to think about it as an untrained employee. So ChatGPT is untrained. Okay, yeah, it's learned a lot of things, scouring the internet and all of the great resources it has, but it's still untrained. Because anything I put out, I want it to be my voice, all of those things that foundationally we want to teach you today. ChatGPT is no different. Every employee to be successful needs proper training and onboarding. Okay, so how do you train ChatGPT? And that's really what we want to spend on foundation, right? So some basics about chat. All of you, if you don't have, I think about 72%, I think, of the audience today were never tried it or tried it once. Like early, okay? So you can all set up a free ChatGPT account. We give you where to go on the playbook. All that playbook has all of those details. So today we're going to use GPT 3.5 and give you, because I believe in the crawl, walk, run philosophy. So you got to crawl before you can kind of do other things. So get comfortable with the free stuff. And once you get to some of us where we progressed, you'll know that the $20 a month is a steal of the decade if you put it to use. Okay, we'll get there in webinar 2. But GPT 3.5 is free. The one thing you'll notice that the data cuts off at September 2021. Now, I also should mention, Jason, we're doing this webinar September 21, 2023. If we did the same webinar next year, the content will be completely different. The slide will be different. There's been a lot of difference, okay? But as of September 2023, the data in GPT 3.5 is 2 years old. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. And these are some basics of what are tokens, memory. 3.5 has a short memory. So if you start to talk to it a lot, it's going to start to forget things, okay? And 4 has a better memory. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. But this is just a state of the union. All right, so let's talk about foundation. If there's one thing we want to have you get out of today is having the right approach and foundation for using AI properly. And we're going to spend some time on that, then get to practical strategies in 3 areas that you can put to use today as you leave this webinar. And then we'll finish with a demo. If you've kept up, I believe A and I are the most overused vowels in 2023. Every email you get, website has AI, and everybody's talking about prompts. Nothing wrong with prompts. For those of you that have never used ChatGPT, prompt is ChatGPT's way, or the term used to instruct ChatGPT to do something, task, question, whatever. But I want to really spend some time before you get to prompt. How do you prime ChatGPT? It's very critical. And we're going to give you some specific examples we'll walk through today. Because many people say, do this. Never, ever just take it and just do that. Because everybody is different. Your business is different. Jason's a real estate agent. And if, let's say, we both are real estate agents, our voices are different, our approach is different, and that is what Prime is all about. You got to prime it properly. Think of that as training and onboarding. And then,
Rajeev, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off there, but no. I do want to mention, just that from a realtor standpoint, this is kind of in addition to your voice, right? This can be a guide for you. This can help you with, the language that you use, the prose that you use, adjectives that you use, but it's not your voice. You have to make it your own. So I just want to mention that.
No, 100%. Thank you for chiming in. And once you've primed it enough, then the prompt is prompt of the prompt. And then what it spits out may not be exactly what you're looking for. It may be like 90%. I call it the last mile. It has to go through your filter and you approve it. And that's where the polish comes in. And then finally you publish. So our foundation is the 4 Ps: prime, prompt, polish, and publish. Okay, I want you to kind of nail that into foundation for you. Okay, now let's talk about prime. What does prime entail? A lot of times people say, write me a listing description for 121 Main Street with 4 beds, whatever. Most people are doing surface level prompting, which is not going to get you what you're looking for through AI. And we're going to give you some specific examples. In fact, we'll do a listing description live, and we'll show you examples of how you put prime to effect. Role. What is a role? A role could be, act as an experienced real estate agent with property marketing expertise. Could be a role, right? Act as a real estate coach. We're going to do this live with learnings from Brian Buffini and Tom Ferry. Could be a role. It could be anything that people that you look up to, admire, and the voice that they talk about, you can put in there. And what is describe relevant information? For example, let's say I want to kind of do a campaign for homeowners that have equity in their home. So give relevant information, provide context. Don't let ChatGPT hallucinate, which we're going to talk about here soon, because it will lie, and it will lie with confidence and make you believe it. So you got to kind of direct it a little bit with input. Steps are specifically ask for exactly what you're looking for and the format you're looking for and expectation. And we'll give you an example. We'll kind of look at this. Okay, so let's look at this example, right? Where the RISE acronym comes together. So Jason, kind of walk us through this, right? And kind of maybe you want to read this out for the audience. They're reading it, but let's look at how we are putting that rise, the priming in motion.
Okay, so with your role, you're going to assume the role of an experienced real estate marketer with an award-winning copywriting capability in communicating the value of selling one's home. Your audience is homeowners that have stayed in their home for over 10 years and have over 50% equity. The desired output is 5 compelling email subject lines and associated email copy, and the goal is to have high email open rates and engagement with the recipients. Ask me 5 questions to gather more information before you produce the output.
This is classic. I mean, if you can get this format down and why we're doing what we're doing, you are in the top 0.5% of 1% of everybody using ChatGPT. Because you have the right foundation and you've really now targeted the output to really dig into experienced real estate marketing. You're giving them guidance. This is more like seller lead gen, right? You're focusing on the seller side of things. And look at the email open rate. Most people don't pay attention to subject lines. They do a real good job of the copy, even in emails I get, but subject lines are 80% of your headline efforts. So you're really directing all of those, putting the rise to work, right? And we'll see some other live examples as we go ahead. So make sure you embrace 4P, prime, prompt, polish, publish, and then the rise in how you think about priming ChatGPT before you start to prompt it. I still haven't prompted it, right? I mean, think about this. I wanted to ask me more questions to go deep in the rabbit hole, Jason, before we actually produce it. Any comments you want to add there?
Yeah, I just want to throw out to the agents there. I think the more specific that you can get with your prompts and what you're going to ask and the questions that you're going to ask, say, a ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, I do want to clarify, is just one aspect of AI, right? But it was the game changer, like Rajeev said, that came out late last year, where we're seeing a huge advancement in the artificial intelligence sphere. And so what you ask it is going to be part of what you're going to get out of it, right? So the more that you can get descriptive, the more clarity that you can give ChatGPT, the more that you're going to get out of it. I had an agent recently that said, I'm not getting what I want when I ask it questions. And I said, well, you're not asking the right questions. And I helped her get more descriptive in what she is asking ChatGPT in order to get what she wants out of it. So I wanted to make sure.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. Some people are playing a different game with ChatGPT than others because they know how to play the game, for lack of a better analogy. So our goal is to lay the right foundation so you can apply it in all parts of AI as you interface with it. All right, so let's kind of move on. This is a topic that's important to address, right? Responsible AI, and that's a whole webinar in itself, but let me kind of call out a few things. And we like acronyms, so I'm going to throw a few more C's in here, right? First, just confidential or privacy. Remember, anything you type into ChatGPT or any public AI solution feeds the learning of the model that everybody has access to. So do not put any private, confidential information into ChatGPT. Okay, so that's number one, very important. Second, compliance. Unless you learn how to use it, and we're going to get to some specific listing description stuff, it does not understand Fair Housing Act. So just because you asked it, again, it's got to go through your filter, you got to correct it, adjust it. But if you use it properly, you limit the hallucinations that it goes through. So make sure you're compliant. And in very rare cases, copyright, the 3 C's. Remember the 3 C's when you want to AI or not to AI, okay? Typing it in. So because it's a public domain, okay? So it's very important, responsible AI. I'll give you an example. Hallucinations is this term that has been given where it just lies because it's going to demonstrate something. When you ask it something, it's going to spit it out. So make sure and there's certain things you can do so it doesn't hallucinate or hallucinates very little. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in an example. So here's an example, right? In June 15th, I asked it, who was a sole survivor of the Titanic? Okay. Not knowing much about the Titanic. I watched the movie though. So it spit out a very confident answer. on June 15th, which was a complete lie on June 15th. I asked the same question September 1, and it came back with the right answer. What does that tell you? It tells you that these engines are learning, but they still will make mistakes and are getting trained over time. So I think we're going to get more good with the engines, but don't rely on the engines. Make sure you put your last mile, like use the 4 Ps and you'll never go wrong. Make sure it goes through your filter, right? And it gave the right answer, Jason. Did you know this answer, Jason?
I had no idea. I thought it was Leonardo DiCaprio. But I will say that supportive tool. This is not something that you need to lean on in that sense if you're looking for a direct answer about something like this that you're mentioning here about the sole survivor. You need to verify the information as you go through, and don't let good wording and good writing of ChatGPT, don't mistake that for being fact. You need to verify the information. It's very important.
Exactly. Well said. All right. So let's kind of dive in now. Now we're going into practical strategies for your growth. And we're going to show you some examples. We're going to do a few of them live. And the playbook covers it all at the end. It has everything you need. We'll talk about that as we get to the end. So first area we're going to focus on is promotion. And promotion really is, think about your online bios. These are easy to do, get you comfortable. But think of, when was the last time you wrote an online bio on LinkedIn? You know what most people do, Jason? I was guilty as charged, which is you write an online bio years when you started the business, whenever you were, and most people don't update it as often. So now ChatGPT gives you an example, an easy way to do it. And look at the 4P and rise at work here, okay? You're an expert copywriter for real estate agents with marketing expertise. Write a professional bio for LinkedIn for a real estate agent. Bio should show my credentials, personality, and style, and highlight my value proposition to leads. The tone and voice. Look at the kind of language we're using to really prime it. And I put, if I was an agent, Jason, I think I will make Rookie of the Year. I will, at least I felt like I would, and I made that stuff up. That's a lie on my part, but at least for the purpose of the discussion, it's good. And personal history, puts whatever you want to put in there. And you can put more details in there, but look at how we're sort of priming it before it gives me a response, right? Online bios, great idea to implement, easy to do, work on it. Okay, simple. This is a big one. This got the most attention, right, Jason? And you've started to embrace it a little bit. A lot of people will not prime it so well that the description that comes out is literally at the 5-yard line because of all the fair housing stuff. Look at the top part, Jason. You read this yesterday and you said, wow, I could have asked that question. So do you want to go through this?
Yeah, I think it's amazing what you can do, and Rajiv's getting into fair housing laws, right? So again, we want to make it known that you need, the onus is on you to know those fair housing laws, but you can give ChatGPT information about the fair housing laws. If you look here, it talks about writing a description for a home for sale. The description you write should meet the following criteria: focus on the features of the home. Use descriptive and persuasive language to describe the features. Do not talk about specific types of buyers or buyer circumstances. Do not reference age, race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, or familial status. So we are giving the information to ChatGPT in order to get what we want. But again, we're inputting as much as possible. And you see the listing details down there as well, that the more information you're going to give it, the better the output is going to be, and the less it's going to get you potentially into trouble with any kind of real estate law.
Yeah, well said. So, and the idea is you're putting a box around ChatGPT so it doesn't go off the rails with stuff when it comes back, right? The next one, once you have this done and you're in a good place, it's your voice, it's what you've written, but written it faster and quicker with this, then you can take the same description. If you're in the chat, you can say, now take this description and write me an SEO optimized Facebook post. I see a lot of agents posting just a listing link. Hey, check this out. That's good. But with ChatGPT, you can do better. Because I think you can now ask it to give you relevant emojis, hashtags, all of those things put together, and it will generate a really good SEO optimized. That's search engines. And it'll pick up all its learnings from it and give you what it thinks you should do, and then you can polish it and then publish it. So next category, content creation. All right, so this is NAR RPR. Okay, most of you are probably familiar that it exists, but maybe you don't know that residential market trends now exist. But this Create Script I have found is the fastest way you can publish market stats in your own voice. Now, Create Script is driven by ChatGPT. Okay, so make a note to yourself that I'm going to start to use it, make it my own, and publish this periodically. You could take that Create Script, make it social posts, video, email, all of it. You can land and expand your strategy, right? Landing is do one thing, and if it's working well, take that to other platforms, right? Simple stuff, market expertise. And Jason, have you played around with this?
I actually did. It is amazing what you can do with this. So last night I went into RPR, typed in 19002, created a script for social media, and it gave me a fantastic script to post on social media, engages the audience. It's amazing what these tools can now start to do, and the game-changing things that we're going to experience moving forward here. And it's going to move pretty quickly. And I think that's why it's so important. And Rajeev, I wanted to mention just a specific story, if I could backtrack just to the MLS description. So I had a friend of mine who's a realtor that I'm close with, and I typically help her write her MLS descriptions. And she called me the other day, was on the road somewhere. I couldn't help her. And she said, listen, I'm getting a new listing. I could really use your help with the description. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you go to ChatGPT and you type in, write me a description for this property using this information, and it actually spit out a fantastic description for her that she was thrilled with. And she said, this thing writes better than you do. And that's not saying much, but she could glean the information that she wanted, add her own wording to it, and you got a MLS description that sounds better than anything that I could spit out.
No, well said. Well said. Yeah. And the URL is narrpr.com, and you need your NERDS ID, and all of you got one. So that's where you go with it. And again, we have this in the playbook, specific stuff around it. All right. So now let's look at this one, right? All of us have access to data, and we're going to do this one live also as a test. Video is big. Jason, I know you do a lot of video, but here's a little script for video, right? Act as an experienced real estate agent in Montgomery County. You want to film a simple video to share your personal take on the information, share it in the news article. I have an article. I want to make a 60-second Instagram reel from the highlights of that article. And I'm just telling it, give me a 60-second script, start with an interesting hook. And when I do this live, you'll see it. It's an article from our market insights, but you could get articles from Keeping Current Matters. It doesn't matter where you subscribe to information. We are on information overload. You get it. But what this is going to help you do is take that and make it into a short video that you can actually put out very easily, right? Video scripts, great way to use it. Productivity. Okay, that's the third category. Promotion, content, and productivity are the categories for today. This is a fun one. And we're going to do this live with Jason as a guinea pig. And I would venture to ask the crowd, but I'm not going to, considering the fear of the response, Jason, is how many people already have a 2024 business plan written out for their goals? So here's something I did. And we will do this live, so you'll see what it produces and kind of jogs ideas. So it's brainstorming, great for brainstorming. So I'm telling it, act as a successful real estate coach that incorporates the learnings from Brian Buffini and Tom Ferry. And you can put anybody in there that's a coach, et cetera. I want to go from 25 transactions to 40, and I would like to be 60% on listing side and 40% buy side. Database, I gave it some information on my database. The end goal is to write a marketing plan. Ask me 5 questions. You can say 10. We'll do 5 in the interest of time on the session. But if you're going to get really deep into it, have it ask you as many questions as it needs to, so it produces exactly or close to what you want. So that's a great one for you to go do. And I would love to have whoever's coming for the next session, I want you to try some of this stuff from the playbook. Come back and maybe in the chat as we start the next session, I'd love for you to share what you did from session 1 to session 2. All right. So now we're going to do this, Jason. This is your business plan. Okay. This is a good one. Okay. Every agent should do this before next week that are watching. All right. So see this, act as a successful real estate coach who incorporates the learnings from Buffini and Tom Ferry. And Jason, so give me your business, Jason. We talked, what are your numbers for 2023? Where do you land? 30?
Yeah. I'm about 30 transactions this year.
In 2023. Congratulations, by the way. And where do you want to end up? 40?
Yes.
Okay. And I would like to be how many listings side do you want and buy side? If that's something.
That's a good split right there. 70-30 would be
okay,
fantastic.
Great. How about the BHHS Connect database? How many people do you have in there?
I have about 350 people.
Okay, so let's just change this, 350. How many of them you think, ballpark it, are past clients?
About 250.
Oh, that's pretty good, Jason. Okay. And the rest I met at open houses, their sphere of influence and networking events. Is that fair, or you want to add anything else to this?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay. The end goal is to write a marketing plan to accomplish my goals for 2024. Ask me 5 questions. Again, I've not asked you to create it because I wanted to learn more about me. Prime. Ask me 5 questions. Now, if you did it reality, say 10. In the interest of time, we're going to do 5. Okay. And Jason's going to respond to these 5 questions before we ask you to create the plan. All right. So it's asking me, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. Have you identified any specific areas of neighborhoods where you'd like to focus your listing efforts in? Jason, what would be the response on number 1? Quickly, give me one.
So I would say the Bluebell area where I'm located.
Bluebell area, Bluebell, PA. Give it more detail with 19422 zip code. Is there 2 zip codes there?
That's perfect. I would say also Lansdale area, which is 19446. So,
okay, I'll just do for the interest of time in the demo, people get the idea. Is Bluebell, PA and Lansdale, PA?
Yep.
All right. Okay, on number 2, what would you say? What strategies or tactics have you previously used for lead gen, and what has worked the best for you?
I would say farming, and I would say Google, paid for ad spends on Google. So however you want to frame that.
Yeah, and it'll understand you. Digital advertising with Google.
And then I would say social media. Okay.
And we're doing this live with a few hundred people watching, so you'll take a little time, think about this. But are you open to number 3? What do you say number 3?
Are you open to exploring digital marketing and social media strategies? Absolutely.
That was an easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're looking to scale our business. You can't do the same thing and expect different results, right? If I can spell absolutely, that would be awesome. All right. Okay. On number 4.
Do you have a budget in mind for your marketing efforts in 2024? Are there any specific marketing channels or tools you're considering? So I mean, personally, let's just have an arbitrary budget of $1,000 a month.
Okay. So I'll give it $12,000 a year.
Okay.
All right. What else? It's asking you on 4. And there are specific marketing channels. I want to focus more on Instagram. Again, I'm just picking.
Mm-hmm.
Or there, but you could do whatever. Or tools you're considering. Anything else you feel like you want to add to this, Jason?
I think YouTube would be a good space as well.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. We talked about video already. So YouTube. All right. On number 5, final one.
Have you set any personal development or skill building goals to enhance your real estate expertise? So in this case, it might be I'm looking to get a broker's license in 2024.
Okay. All right. We've given it, again, we're doing it quickly, but you get the idea here. All right, here we go. Here's your plan, Jason. And I just want you to think about how long did it take us? We were obviously doing it quickly because we're on this webinar, but you can still prime it. Goal, geographic farming, concentrate your efforts on becoming the go-to direct marketing campaigns, postcards and newsletters. It's giving you ideas, and you can tell it, can you expand more on the direct mail campaigns on geographic farming? You can go into it. But the idea here is look at what it just produced for you, right? It's a plan. You can work with it and kind of push it, and then have it spit out your actual plan. Now, if we did not have this, how long will it take us hours to actually do this? Hence, most people don't do it. Right, Jason?
Yeah, and Rajeev, if I can add, I mean, this almost combines not only a business plan but also a marketing plan as well.
Yeah.
So I know for me, I have my own personal, if you listen to the podcast, I have my own business plan every year, but I also have a marketing plan. This kind of combines the two and gives you some great ideas on how to kind of manage your business, which, it's typing it up in what, Rajeev, 15 seconds? I mean, it's amazing the implications that these tools can have on your business.
And you can say, rewrite the above in table format, if that's what you like to see, and it just comes up. And here's a big tip. Not a plug, but it is important that you embrace BHHS Connect for your CRM system, for implementing database management, client testimonials, measurements. It's saying measure. Whatever you measure and manage, you can control and make it grow. Here we go. And it says, good luck, Jason, with your endeavors, and congratulations pursuing your broker's license. There is a personality to ChatGPT that we want to just point out as well, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing. And getting back to just the implications of some of the things that you've shown throughout this slideshow, we talked about Web Chat GPT as one of the Chrome plugins that you can do to your business. I've used statistics from there where if, just for example, I'm handing out Eagle schedules to my sphere of influence, and this is something that I've done this year. I wanted to incorporate some local stats with what I'm sending out to my clientele. So I'm looking up those statistics on Web Chat GPT, copying, pasting, making sure that it sounds correct, that the stats are correct, but I'm putting that into a mailer along with that schedule. So I'm trying to have a call to action to somebody to list their home. And that's what I'm looking for. That was the plan, is how do I get more sellers moving forward? So I incorporated that into my mailer. It took me all of 10 minutes to do that. Obviously, I would have been looking those statistics up for days prior to that. It took me all of 30 seconds.
No, well said. So here's the last prompt we'll do before we get back and give you the playbook. So this is, those of you that want to embrace video, hint, you should, even though you don't like it. And Jason's pretty good at video, like many of our agents are. Here's what we're doing with this. We publish a lot of market insights. And I took this copy, and I'll show you this in a second, from the Southeastern Pennsylvania, Montgomery County, Bucks County thing that Larry puts out quarterly, okay? But it's a lot to read. I just want to do a 60-second video summarizing the key trends that were put in like a 5-page document, okay? Act as an experienced agent in real estate in Montgomery County. This resonates with you, Jason. You want to film a simple video to share your personal take on the information shared in the news article. Write a video script that is about 60 seconds long, single take, okay? Starts with an interesting hook, drawing people into your video, and allows you to tell a personal story. And it says, don't make up a story, just simply say, insert personal story here, so you can actually put your own spin into it, if that's important. Include a strong call to action at the end to encourage people to get in touch with you. So that's what I'm given. Now, what I did was I took the entire PDF of the market insights, copied it, and pasted it down here. So there's a lot here, okay? It basically talks about rates, it talks about prosperity, it talks about, here's some of the year of year stats, home sold, average sale price. Now I wanted to say, give me the 60-second long script. Go. Now, here's your script, version 1. Now, it's saying, hey there, Montgomery County homeowners and future. I am Jason Ostrowski, your trusted real estate expert. Today, I want to talk to you about some exciting news on real estate. According to recent reports, while home prices are on the rise, they're doing a more sustainable place. It actually starts to talk about lock-in effect, because this report references a lock-in effect about rates. And it talks a little bit, and again, I say, look at this. Speaking of stats, it's pulling stuff that I've given it. So they're buying or selling, contact me. End with a warm smile, Jason. Smile. People do business with people they like and trust, and you have a good smile, but it's giving you pause for emphasis. I just want you to think about this. I mean, I don't have the time to read an entire article sometimes, but I can tell ChatGPT, please summarize this for me. In this example, we're saying, just give me a script.
And Rajeev, you and I talked about this. I kind of chuckle about what this is putting out because, especially when it comes to video, we've been hearing about video forever and a day, right?
Yeah.
And you have no excuse not to do video at this point because it is this simple to type in to ChatGPT what Rajeev just did. It spits this out for you, and we're going to get into in our later webinars here some apps that you can even use to download this script into and use your phone as a teleprompter as you're reading it onto social media. So it makes it so easy to do these things. And these are just a small example, or this is just a small example of what you're going to be able to do with AI.
100%. And look, Jason, it's also telling you to lean in on the video sometimes. Lean in, for the seller. So
I don't want to scare people.
So let's finish up, Jason, and kind of share with them the playbook. I have a video. I'm going to skip that in the interest of time. So here's the playbook, folks. We built a full site called foxroach.ai. And I want again, that's the URL, foxroach.ai. So you can go there anytime. We have resources, we have the plugins, but more importantly, we have a 18-page nice playbook that I would give you just one recommendation. Do not print it. You're welcome to print it, save some trees, but more importantly, the stuff is changing so quickly, but that we want to just bookmark it because when you go to it, you'll have the most current information. So QR code it. QR codes are back, so we figured we should QR code this for you, and it'll take you to a site where our webinar recordings will be posted. But right in the middle of that site, you'll see a link to the playbook, which has a summary of everything we've covered, the 4 Ps, the rise, promotion, content, and productivity, and everything else in between. So,
to add to what you said, Rajeev, anytime that a new technology comes out, I feel like there's always kind of an apprehension on our end, right? It's one more thing that we have to do as realtors. I totally get that. I totally understand taking something new on here, but this is going to become an everyday part of our lives moving forward. And so to get on board now and have Fox and Roach get on board now when it's in its nascent, early levels, I think is just going to help us moving forward. And like Rajeev said, that playbook is going to update itself as we go along. So you are not going to be left kind of alone. You will have help in using these tools. I want to make that very clear. And we're going to take it step by step and make sure that you understand it along the way.
So I appreciate that wrap up, Jason. I want to kind of tell agents that if you're here today, you've got the foundation, you get the playbook, and as time permits, do not miss webinar 2 and webinar 3 because we're building off of this. They're not duplicate webinars. We're going to go into advanced strategies. For me, AI has become a $20 virtual employee that I just can't fire because it's the deal of the century. Okay. But we want you to get comfortable with the free because 75% of people that are here were playing around with the free stuff. Get comfortable, 4 Ps, rise. And next week, we're going to embark on advanced strategies, talking about GPT-4 and the plugins and everything, how the world can open up for you. And you will have an AI virtual assistant before you know it.
ChatGPT, I just want to touch upon, again, from the liability issue, make sure that you are using this in your own words, manipulate the data that you get. Don't just copy and paste what you get. So I know John Featherman in Center City, I know you have some concerns about ChatGPT. Rajeev, do you just want to double down and make sure that people understand that, where the issues lie?
Look, anything you do with ChatGPT, it has to become your voice, okay? And how you make ChatGPT write like you is how we're going to lead the webinar 2, by the way. Webinar 2 is going to lead off with how do you make ChatGPT write like me? And that is basically priming, polishing, and then you get the right output. I've sent several emails, Jason, recently, and people don't know it's not me writing it.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know who was writing it, but it was coached to talk like Rajeev, right? The conversations and the priming. So the more you learn, and make sure you don't input privacy stuff. We talked about confidential. Make sure it's compliant because it's your voice. Remember, the last time I checked, ChatGPT is not a licensed realtor. You are, okay? He's just an assistant, unlicensed assistant in those terms. So make sure it's your voice, and that bears repeating as well. So thanks, everybody, for hanging on here, and make sure you join the next one. And all of the recordings, your playbook, links to the next 2 webinars, all are at foxroach.ai. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.
That was the recast of part 1 of our 3-part webinar series, AI-Powered Real Estate, Unleashing Practical Strategies for Your Growth. The only takeaway that I would like to cover from the podcast today is that AI is not going to be going away. This is not some fad that is going to be here today, gone tomorrow. This is something that is going to be in everyday use, not only in our business lives, but in our personal lives. Every big company is rushing to incorporate artificial intelligence into what they do on a day-to-day basis. So it is good for us to get in on the ground floor, learn this new technology. Yes, is there a learning curve? Sure, there is. But this is going to be vitally important to what you do. So those who embrace it are going to have a clear advantage over those who do not. So my advice is go to foxroach.ai. You can start there if you haven't started using things like ChatGPT or other AI. Watch part 2 and part 3 of the webinar series and start using this wonderful tool for your business. It's going to help you, make you more efficient, and make you a better realtor. Well, that's it for the podcast this week. We will be back in another couple of weeks with a new topic, a new guest. And as always, if you want to hear something that we haven't covered yet, please reach out to me, jason.ostrowski@foxroach.com. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to the podcast or left us a review yet, please do so. It helps us to reach more people. Once again, this is Jason Ostrowski saying stay safe out there, stay selling, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast.